Here at the show, we love to make fun of the stories that Donald Trump tells when he claims that people came up to him with tears in their eyes to tell him something, and most of the time the story seems to be a lie, but there's a real chance that every now and then it's actually a true story, and that's backed up by the fact that as Trump was leaving the Iowa State Fairgrounds in Des Moines, Iowa over the weekend, Right Side Broadcasting interviewed some Trumpists, and they were quite emotional over seeing his plane. We got some real insights into the cult of Trump from this event, and we'll get to the crying in just a moment. But first, we have a woman here saying that she's going to vote for the candidate with the most impeachments and the most indictments.
That's been going on, so it's important that outlets like myself actually get out there and do this. So.
I'm going to vote for the man with the most impeachments and the most indictments because guess what? He knows where all this corruption is now, and he's going to go in, he's going to clean up. This is personal now. I believe this is personal to all of us that are voting for him, and it's so great to see.
Well, Donald Trump certainly does have the most impeachments. That's true. He has two, whereas only a couple of other presidents even have one in American history. But if you're going for someone with the most indictments, why stop at three? Why not go for a serial killer or someone who's lived a life of violent crime or something like that? You could probably find someone who has dozens of indictments or maybe hundreds of indictments. Why stop at just a few? And it goes to show how even when presented with facts to demonstrate that this guy, Donald Trump, is a criminal who is totally undeserving of being president, it just bolsters these opinions of people who like him even more. Next, we go to a Right Side Broadcasting report. I believe this is the voice of Brian Glenn, who is Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, but also a broadcaster. And he is explaining in this clip how he's seen so many emotional people at this Iowa State Fair event.
Watching the plane here as it warms up, and people are kind of capturing the moment right now. There's a couple people that are almost in tears as they tell the president wave goodbye. I've just saw a lady wiping away tears, and I think that she's getting emotional right now because she knows that the president that's in that plane right now is the only person that can save this country.
Right, and God has put him on this planet to do that right now. He's at the moment.
Yes, God has put Trump in this position to save the country, but he's got to earn it, and we've got to earn it too, right? So he couldn't just win back-to-back elections. No, that wouldn't make sense. He has to win a term and then lose re-election and then come back to try to win again. Why? Because I don't know, God works in mysterious ways, I suppose. And then we have a woman sniffling when speaking to Right Side Broadcasting, presumably wiping away tears from her eyes. You can hear the emotion in her voice. And then she talks about how there was a big dump at 3 o'clock in the morning on election night. And I gotta say, when I first heard this, I laughed hysterically. Listen to this.
In our country right now, and the way that he is treated and dishonored, and the man comes back, he keeps fighting and fighting for this country. He's not been paid. He donates the money. He comes back and he fights again. Why? He loves America, and we matter to him, and he's not going to give up. He's not backing down, and we aren't either. He won that election before we went to bed, and 3 o'clock in the morning I woke up and I'm like, what happened? The big dump. And people can say whatever, but I'm just telling you, this man has been anointed, and this man is our way back. I believe in our founding fathers, our Constitution, and what's happening in this country right now is wrong and a travesty, and we need him back.
I couldn't have said that any better. I agree with 100% of what you just said. And
I gotta say, these people sound like they're just copying and pasting the words of Donald Trump when they say this stuff. It's like they can't really think for themselves. I know I don't have to tell you guys, but we knew that there was a red mirage theory going into the 2020 race, that the earliest votes that were going to get counted were going to skew in Donald Trump's favor because most states were counting the in-person votes ahead of time before the mail-in votes, and Trump was telling his supporters not to vote by mail and to only vote in person. So looking at the results come in on election night, it looked like maybe Biden was making a comeback towards the end, towards the early morning hours, but really the votes were the votes, and you can count them in whatever order you want to, but what matters is how many votes each candidate got, and you got to wait until enough votes are counted, all the votes are counted, to be able to determine officially who won the election. And it doesn't matter what order you go in. So there was this idea that there was a comeback that took place, but it's just about the order that they counted the votes in. And then the big dump at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, That is comedic gold right there. I know sometimes it can be hard to sleep through the night, and maybe you need a bathroom visit in the middle of the night, but just the mix of her saying the big dump with the emotion in her voice, that is something else. And the Trump cultishness not only came from the Trump supporters themselves, it also came directly from Brian Glenn himself when asking this hard-hitting question to the failed former president.
Mr. President, you have the debate coming up. How can these other candidates stand on the same stage as you and try to roll out a better plan to save America when you already had the 4 most successful years as any sitting president? I feel, in fact, they've already lost without even getting on the stage. I want to get your thoughts.
I tell you, that's a question I happen to like. I can just say thank you very much. You know, first of all, I do thank you. And you're a real pro, by the way, a real professional, and the country appreciates it.
I gotta wonder over at Right Side Broadcasting, are they even pretending to be journalists? I mean, if they're not, that's totally fine. If they're just doing commentary and biased reporting, then sure, they can have at it. But they're called Right Side Broadcasting, not the Trump News Network, so it seems even a little bit too sycophantic for them. If I was in this type of position and I was, interviewing maybe Bernie Sanders or some other politician I liked, I couldn't bring myself to be so sycophantic. I mean, I would, maybe ask a question that could be perceived as biased or something like that, but there's no chance that I would be able to bring myself to grovel at the feet of someone like that. I mean, that is just absolutely embarrassing. So that was Donald Trump's appearance in Iowa over the weekend, and with the reactions that we got from Trump supporters, it's no wonder why he is leading this Republican primary race by leaps and bounds. Let's go to another break. We'll be back with much more of the David Pakman Show right after these messages.
Breaking bad habits can be really tough, but Fume is on a mission to make it a lot easier. Now, let me again remind everybody, our sponsor Fume is not a vape. I would not be advertising vapes. There's no nicotine. There's nothing electronic. Fume is just a small wooden cylinder that delivers tasty plant-flavored air. That's all it is, okay? First of all, people love the flavor, bunch of flavors, crisp mint, maple pepper, orange, vanilla, raspberry, lemon. Okay, there's the physicality of the device. It fits in your pocket, you carry it around, it gives you something to hold up to your mouth. So if you're breaking a bad habit, the hand-to-mouth piece of it is a big deal. Your hands want something to do. This gives you that. It also has an adjustable airflow dial and a magnetic end cap, which you can just fidget with when it's away in your pocket, which is also useful for some people who are trying to break these habits. Just go and read the reviews online. Fume has transformed bad habits for thousands of people. It's a great alternative for the hand-to-mouth habit. Go to tryfume.com. Use the code Pakman to save 10% when you get the Journey Pack, which comes with the device and several flavors to try. The link is down below.